Hi guys, welcome to the video. Today we're going to have a split the room discussion about which is a more specialised position, a goalkeeper or an out and out centre forward. Now, I was involved in a discussion a few days ago that I seen, and it was really split the room on opinions, and I thought it'd be good to get involved in with me and Adam. Adam being a defender as a player and specialised in goalkeeping as a coach, and me being an outfield player, an attacking minded outfield player, and being more specialised in attacking positions whilst I'm coaching too. So we'd love to see your comments and for whoever watches the video to get involved and listen to your opinions as well. So let's start off with, we're going to be pretty biased because I'm an attacker, Adam's a goalkeeper. So I'm going to start off with, I think that now, especially in this day and age, strikers have more skill and technique involved in their position compared to a goalkeeper. What are your thoughts on that, Adam?
I can agree. As far as being a striker is a valuable position. Obviously they might not get many chances. So they need to obviously thrive on the chances that they get. But as far as a goalkeeper is concerned, I believe that it's a more specialised position because you've got to concentrate more. Like I say, strikers, they might not get that many chances, but a player on their team might be in a better position. He might be able to put the ball in the net. So that's four or five chances that your team have been able to create, even though it wasn't necessarily that certain person who might be your big time goal scorer. Whereas from the goalkeeping standpoint, a goalkeeper doesn't get that opportunity. If they make a mistake, that's cost their team an opportunity potentially to win the match. They ain't able to salvage that mistake. That's there for the world to see.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of the time, if a goalkeeper makes a mistake, the finger is pointed in their direction majority of the time. We spoke about this previously. I feel like from not just a player but a coach's perspective, I'm saying striker because I understand that goalkeepers have adapted compared to what they used to be. They used to just be shot stoppers, and they're a whole lot more now. They've got to use their feet. They've got to have good distribution. They've got to communicate, etc. But I feel like strikers put hours and hours of practice onto the training field. You might only get half a chance in a game, and you've got to take it. You've got to score it. That comes from hours and hours of shooting practice. It's not just being a good goal scorer. I mean, finishing in itself is a skill in itself. It's a specialised skill. And first name that comes to mind is Specialised. When you speak of a striker, I'd probably say Aguero because he just scores goals, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So I feel like it's more than that, though. I feel like they need a good touch. They need good footwork. But I would say like Romelu Lukaku didn't have the best footwork at Man United. It was something he definitely needed to work on. I feel like they need good movement. Now, Robin Van Persie's movement off the ball was fantastic. Got into some great attacking positions. That was one of his great attributes. And I understand I'm pointing out attributes here, but it comes down to hard work and practice. And in that's a skill in itself. You don't work hard to practice every day and to master your skills, you're not going to do anything. You're not going to be a world class player. You're not going to be a great finisher. You're not going to be a great in the air. Like now they need aerial ability. They've got to adapt to different formations, different managers. Now in our modern football, you've got 2, maybe 3 managers a season coming in. You've got to change from other managers' philosophies, and you've got to adapt to that. 1 minute you might be a false 9, and then you might be changing to a player who's feeding off over the top through balls. It changes all the time. Now, what's your point of view as a goalkeeper, and that actually happening, like a manager coming in, for example, and having to adapt to his philosophy and his way of playing?
Well, I think it's difficult. I think height obviously plays a big thing into it. Some managers like tall goalkeepers. But a tall goalkeeper might not be great with his feet. So it really does depend on what kind of style the manager wants you to play. But I mean, obviously it is evolving. Goalkeepers are being able to having to be able to play out and use their feet and pass balls into midfield. But I just believe that is a top 7 or 8 team mentality, all the way down the league. So the top 8 teams in every league, whether that's amateurs all the way up to professional game, those kind of teams are more likely to have more possession of the ball, keep the ball. Therefore, they're going to go into the goalkeeper if their defenders are under pressure, and then play back out and keep the ball that way. Whereas teams underneath 8 all the way down into the relegation positions, their managers are looking for goalkeepers end of the day to keep them in games. And
shot stoppers just to save the last line of defence, just to make sure they don't concede stupid amount of goals.
To keep them in matches, to keep them in the leagues, and that's where the biggest comparison is. Everyone says that goalkeepers nowadays need to be able to distribute, but end of the day, clean sheets keep managers in jobs.
But from my point of view, you've not just got the goalkeeper to keep the clean sheets, it's defenders as well. They've got to get through the defenders before they get through the goalkeeper. And I understand that strikers don't just score the goals, and out centre forward wouldn't alone score the goals, but they play a major role in scoring goals within the team. Like, how many midfielders do you see that score 20 plus goals a season?
Not that many.
Not that many. How many players can score 30 plus goals a season? A handful,
maybe
who
on a team, maybe,
who have worked hard every single day to perfect their skills and to perfect their specialism as a striker.
Yeah, I just
for example, let's say, from opinion, the 5 best strikers in the world right now.
I mean, you've got to put Aguero in.
Aguero's got to be in there. It's got to be. I'd say Lewandowski. Yeah. I feel like he scores. There was a stat the other day. I think he's the only player with Messi and Ronaldo to score 30 plus goals for the past 4 seasons.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that doesn't.
Would you put Suarez in that bracket?
Yeah.
Suarez.
Fascinating.
Really class Messi and Ronaldo as strikers.
You've got to put them in there as well. I mean,
and then those 2 as well. So that's 5. So yeah, I mean, they are goal scorers, but I mean, out and out, I feel like it's now a striker isn't just finishing, just like a goalkeeper isn't just saving. There's more to it. I mentioned before, movement, and it depends on the height and the build of the player as well, for example, and what the manager wants out of them. If you're a big player like Lukaku, like Diego Costa, big players that can use their body, they can pin defenders, they can win flick-ons to the wingers or to the strike partner. That's another thing. Strike partners, you've got to be able to communicate. You've got to be able to work together with another striker, wingers, midfielders. There's other people involved as a striker as well. It's not. I understand it's a team game anyway, but you're not alone. You've got other people. You've got to build relationships. You've got to build relationships with players in other positions. Like, for example, Andy Cole and Dwight York, great partnership, great strike partnership. At the minute, you've got you at Barcelona, you had Neymar, Messi, and Suarez partnerships, and individually, great strikers. Well, winger as well, forwards, great forward positions. I know we're speaking about centre forwards, but still, Suarez within that 3 had to build partnerships with the other 2 players.
Yeah,
Whereas a
100%.
goalkeeper, it's a lonely position. Who's he got to work with? I understand he's got to communicate to his centre halves and he's
and your fullbacks. You've got to communicate. You've got to be able to organise.
I'm not saying it's not superior compared to a centre forward. I feel like a centre forward and a goalkeeper both. I think every position on the pitch is specialised in its own different way.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like there's more involved in a striker than there is in a goalkeeper. There was a comment that I really liked on social media that I was involved in the conversation. It says, all positions need fine detail to perfect it, which is true, you would say?
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah, and that they're all equal. Are they all equal?
Not really.
Are they all equal? Who wins games?
Strikers win matches.
Strikers win games.
But goalkeepers give strikers the opportunities to win matches.
And we both understand that it's a matter of opinions, isn't it? And we'd love to hear everyone else's opinion as
because
well.
at the end of the day, you said you might
100% the last line of defence, the keeper.
Yeah, 100%. You can't deny that.
Right. And it says that keepers in the past have just had footballs hit at them, and as part of training in recent times, which I've seen, you all see on a Sunday league, not just professional level, all through the levels, all you do, you just bash the balls at the keepers, don't you? As part of training in recent times, but the role especially has moved on so much, which it has. I've agreed with that. I'm being biased in saying strikers, but I agree with that. It has moved on so much. And he says here, keepers get older and expect to be good with the ball, good with the feet, and they need to be just as good as outfield players now. Do you agree with that?
I don't necessarily agree with that. I mean, I agree that football.
I understand. Which one is it? Is it Edison or Allison who's got a great distribution? It's Edison, isn't it?
Edison. Yeah.
Edison's got a great distribution. I mean, his kicking and his throwing is unbelievable, and it does come in handy. But does it need to be as good as, let's say, for example, Paul Scholes, who's got an absolute ping on him? Does it need to be good as Kevin De Bruyne's passing?
No, it doesn't necessarily need to be that good, but it needs to be accurate. Because you can be under pressure from various different angles, and you've got to be able to use both feet semi half decent. So you've got to be able to distribute the ball at least 50 yards and accurate to be able to hit your target. I just don't agree with the point where people are talking about football evolving and quickly and how quickly it's evolving. Yeah, I do believe it's evolved, but I don't agree with the point where these kind of goalkeepers are the point of why and how it's evolved. Because distribution was important in United's team. When United used to be a counter-attacking side, wing attacking side, Peter Schmeichel was absolutely ridiculous at distribution. He wasn't kicking it, he was throwing it, but he could throw it to the halfway line. And that was when United was at United had Schmeichel, and we won the treble in that season. So the evolution of football was around then, and it was slowly moving, and that is distribution at its best.
Yeah.
But we don't see goalkeepers throw the ball those kind of distances anymore. They'd rather kick it those kind of distances.
Yeah. Okay, so let's speak about from a one-to-one coaching perspective. Do you think it's more specialised from a one-to-one perspective, coaching? Does it need more one-to-one coaching as a goalkeeper? Right. Obviously, in past, somebody mentioned it on a comment then, that in a training scenario, goalkeepers have just been put him in goal and we'll just fire balls at him. Obviously, that isn't training, and I understand that. So
at all. In my opinion.
compared to a striker, do you think a goalkeeper would benefit more from one-to-one training than a striker would?
I mean, from the comment that you just made about goalkeeping used to just be where people were getting balls
Or
kicked
even
at them.
small, like now we see, sorry, I butted in, but now we see they go off in groups. So you get the goal. I know when I train, the goalkeepers usually go off with the goalkeeping coach and do their own bits, and we stay as a team. But sometimes I feel like we, as strikers and as attackers, we need more training in certain areas to benefit us and our skills. So I feel like I'm not being biased now, but goalkeepers would probably benefit more from one-to-one coaching than a striker would do. I feel like they both get a lot out of it, but I feel like because it's a very lonely position, I think the only way they can better themselves is from a one-to-one.
Yeah,
or a small
100%. I believe that there's more installments in the technique and the kind of levels that you have to break it down to.
Which technique?
in a
Techniques in what area?
In a goalkeeping technique, for example, diving. You know,
Right.
you've got
Is
to
there
be
a
able
wrong way to dive? I wouldn't know this because I'm not a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Is there a wrong way to dive?
There is a wrong way to dive, and you can severely injure yourself. You know, but you have to break it completely down. You know, people start on their knees, and then they crouch, and then they come up to their feet, and you break it right down from the bare bones all the way up. I just don't believe that there's that many steps that you have to break it down to that level for goal scorers. I think you have to make sure your touch is good towards the direction and towards the net.
Well,
which is a good.
I can go into detail and say, depending on what position. Well, we're saying about out strikers and centre forwards, right? So depending on what style of play that player is playing in, you've got to know what angles you can stand on in order to receive the ball. Yeah, if you're stood at a 90-degree angle, you're not on the right angle. If you stand on a 180-degree angle, you can see everything apart from what's behind you. You can see from one side all the way to the other. You can see who you're receiving off, where you're going to, everything else in between. Right?
Yep.
You've got a skill in itself. I've said finishing. You don't just finish in a one-to-one situation, do you? You don't just get in front of a goalkeeper and shoot. You're shooting from different angles. You're using both feet. You're using different surfaces of your foot. You might, as horrible as it is, you might have to toe it at some point. You've got to adapt and change your position in order to get a shot off. You've got to change your angles to get a shot off. You might have to use the outside of your foot. You might have to use the inside of your foot. You might have to use your weaker foot. Yeah, you've got to open your body up. It depends on what kind of shot you're doing. If you're striking, your stance, you've got how you plant. There's a whole lead up to your shot. You run up, your planting of your foot, what part of the foot you use to strike the ball with, the way you put your arms out to balance yourself. Do you have your head over the ball? If you're going to shoot from long range, you've got to lean back a little bit more to get a bit of height on the ball. If you're side footing it and placing it into the goal, you've got to open your body a little bit more. There's techniques in striking as well. There's massive technique in striking, and that's a skill.
Yeah, but I just generally believe that the fine-tuned movements of a goalkeeper have to be almost. I mean, there's no real perfection, but as opposed to the two positions, I think from the goalkeeper standpoint, like the handling, figuring out which way to catch the ball when it's coming towards a certain area, whether it's on the ball, on the floor, how to use the K barrier, the basket if it's coming at your chest, or the W when it's coming towards your face, your movement from left to right, if the ball's not directly at you. Those kind of movements, I believe, need to be as close to perfection as it can possibly be, because you're more likely to make an error. And that's where I believe that goalkeeping, it needs to be broken down. Like you've got to be able You've got to be able to know how to catch the ball.
So you have to, as a striker and a centre forward as well, whether it's on the ball and off the ball. I understand with a goalkeeper, a lot of it, well, all of it's off the ball, isn't it? Your movement off the ball. And in order to see the ball, your angles and etc., I'll let you get into that in a minute. But from a striker's perspective, you're moving on the ball as well. You're not just dribbling, you're using your body, you're dipping your shoulders, you're trying to shrug off a defender, you're trying to just get that yard of space to pop a shot off or to find a pass and then get into an attacking position. You've got to be moving, you've got to be ticking all the time in order to create attacking positions. You've got to be able to draw defenders away to create space in behind. You might have to spin, drop your shoulder, spin, and get in behind. There's movement involved in striking as well.
I get that. But I'm saying, as far as, if a striker's got the ball and he's dribbling towards a defender, and he shifts the ball, but he wants to keep the ball nice and close, but his touch is bad. You've got an opportunity.
And then what does he have to do? He's got to adapt to it.
You've got an opportunity to be able to fix that and still get past the defender. Whereas
not necessarily. Depending on the scenario.
For an example, Schalke's goalkeeper the other day. They lost that match, but that game would have been a lot closer. That free kick was probably 40 yards out. It was a well-hit free kick, but it wasn't in the corner by any means. But the goalkeeper, he didn't move his feet. All he would have needed was one step towards his right-hand side, and he would have been able to save that ball. But he didn't move his feet, and he lunged from the position that he was at, and he wasn't able to cover the ground successfully enough and efficiently enough to be able to make the save. And that little fine-tuned movement, cost their team a goal because he didn't do it.
When you talk about movement, I'm going to talk about a little bit of movement, but mentality as well. If obviously strikers don't get a lot of time on the ball, so when you get the opportunity, you've got to take it. If you're not getting on the ball, what have you got to do? You've got to try and get into a position in order to receive the ball and get a ball. So in their head, they've got to be thinking, right, well, what can I do to get onto the ball? I can't stand still because I'm not going to get it. I've got to keep moving. I've got to draw a defender out to create some space. I've got to make runs behind. I've got to come short and maybe bop it off and then move again. They've got to keep moving, but they've got to keep thinking as well of different ways and changing and adapting through the game, not just with managers and their philosophies, but they've got to adapt through the game as well.
Yeah, but that's that space that you've ran away from that creates space for somebody else to run into, which therefore then that ball might be put in the net by that person that's now in that space, which could be a midfielder.
Yeah,
it could be that ball could be put in the box for a centre back. Those kind of areas where the goalkeeper has to concentrate and fine tune those movements without the help of anybody else.
But I feel like we're not obviously talking about strikers and goalkeepers, but in any position you've got to be concentrating, because if you don't concentrate, you're going to get punished for it, aren't you? And that's obvious, isn't it? Right. But from talking from a one-to-one coaching perspective, this is what we're still talking about. I feel like there's more involved in strikers than there is goalkeepers, though, because you've got to work on the movements away from the defenders to receive the ball. You've got to work on your first touch going out your feet. You've got to work on your shooting, your accuracy. Yeah, you've got to work on your communication, your checking of your shoulders, your touch. You run up to the strike. And not just that, there's other things as well, like I said before, with the partnerships, being able to play the ball or knowing where a teammate is. You might not be training as a one-to-one, you might be training as a pair. Now, how can you relate that to a goalkeeper?
I mean, the angle of approach is massive. Being able to close people down at certain angles, that takes hours and hours of training and being able to master that technique. A one-on-one, for example, a guy running at you towards the net, you need to be able to usher him away from the goal. You don't want to give him too much of a corner to be able to put the ball into. You've got to be able to figure that kind of side of the game out. That to me is a lot.
I'm, on that point, can I jib in there? Because I know from experience, when a goalkeeper runs out and they do it right and they cut down all your angles, it is the worst thing for a striker because it makes you think, and that's what you've got to get out of. And I feel like in that situation, in a coaching situation, I feel like that's something really important in order working on composure in front of goal. Yeah, working on composure in front of goal. The goalkeeper's rushing you out, for example, you're thinking of where to go. You're going to miss it because by the time you picked a place to put it, you've either been tackled off the goalkeeper, a defender's got back in and managed to recover, or you actually pick the spot and because he's done that well of a job as a goalkeeper covering his angles, he saved it anyway. So I think that's something massive that strikers need to work on again. Composure, it's huge.
I just believe that strikers, they've got the opportunity to be able to manipulate the play. You know,
I mean, if you shift it in that situation, if you shift it to one side,
you can dictate the play.
You're going the other way.
You can dictate the play 100%. You know, if you want to run to your left, you can run to your left. If you want to shoot early, you can shoot early. If you want to run it close to the goalkeeper, you can run it close to the goalkeeper. A goalkeeper has to have the ability to react on what you give them and what opportunities you're able to present them. Whereas I feel like that's a lot more of a harder skill because we have to rely on the opportunities that you present. We've got to be a lot more patient and close your angles down. If we take one step in the wrong direction, that's an easy angle for you to put the ball into.
Yeah. Speaking about dictating the play, a comment says here, even though football is a team game, they think that goalkeeper still for them is an individual. Even though football is a team game, the goalkeeper is still for this person an individual. One as a goalkeeper alone can only dictate and decide your outcome in training or a game scenario. You agree?
Not really.
Do you agree that a goalkeeper can only dictate themselves in training and a game scenario? Dictate the outcome of their game.
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree to a certain point, but it just comes down to, like I say, what's presented to a goalkeeper from a striker. Like if the ball's put like into the corner and the goalkeeper's got absolutely no chance, you know that. Therefore, I mean, I might be the best goalkeeper that the club has. I'm not able to get there because the shot was too good. So, I mean, I don't agree with it fully because, I mean, I understand from that really only validates when, from the concentration standpoint and the stuff that I'm only able to affect. If the shot's in and around me, I expect to save it. And therefore, I'm able to dictate that. Whereas, you know, and the majority of the game, 85% of the play, you're manipulating the play. The only thing that I'm really able to manipulate is set pieces. When that ball's up in the air, I'm able to then decide whether I want to come and take it or whether I don't. I'm able to manipulate that because you haven't got the ball under control. Whereas most of the time, you will have the ball and be able to cause me to react. If that makes at all sense. So I agree with him 50%.
Yeah, it makes sense.
The rest of it, I don't really agree with.
I mean, we said at the start, it's a split opinion conversation, which is more specialised, a goalkeeper or a striker. Some people will say striker, some people will say goalkeeper. But all in all, we both agree that every position is equally important. They all have different specialities, and they all need to be perfected in different ways. So, you could be biased and say, "Oh, goalkeepers are more important because they save the goals," but I could say, "Oh, goal strikers are more important because they score the goals." It's a split decision opinion. But we would love to hear everyone else's opinions on this situation, and what we will do is we will do the best we can to comment back and tell you what we think as well. So if you comment on my page, Jordan CR UK, or whether you comment on Adam's page, which is Morlow's Private Clinic, or Morlow 2. So we'd love to hear your opinions and what your thoughts are. Which is more of a specialised position, goalkeeper or an out-and-out centre forward? Thanks for watching the video, guys. Don't forget to like, share, comment below.
Right, see you guys later. See you next week.
Bye.